attention. My face will be back tomorrow. It'll probably be back for the thumbnail, but just ran out of time today. But let's not talk about computer issues for too long. I've got two fantastic guests on today. Uh, the both halves of the Metropol grid, Andre and Patrick, are joining us today, and I'll have them quickly say hello.
Hi. Hey, I'm Andre for the Metropol Grid. For first time viewer, long time caller, thanks for having me. I've been watching this thing for a long time. Dailycast has been really fun. I'm glad to be here. How y'all doing?
And hey, everybody, my name is Patrick. First time, long time. I'm just happy to finally be invited onto a Netrunner stream instead of being summoned via curse. Nice change.
uh, Hold on one sec. Yeah, so you today, for people, if for some reason you have found my stream and not yet watched the Metropol Grid's excellent video, you should really do that. There's a lot of great spoilers in that video, and I think it's some of the premier spoiler content you can see all season, I think, in terms of just amount of polish and thought put into the whole production. Um,
Cheers. That's
so
very kind.
Thank
so
you so
and
much.
and yeah, somehow if you found this on YouTube um, without somehow already being subscribed to the Metropol Grid, there'll be a link in the video description, and you can go and watch the video there. I'll do the thing I always do, though I think you guys are a little more well known than my average guest, and just have you quickly say when you got into Netrunner. Um,
Ooh. Okay. I got into Netrunner. It was the middle of, I believe it was the spin cycle. So the second cycle after. So like my first deluxe I picked up was what's it called? Creation and Control. So that's like maybe 2013, 2014. So I'm in for the long haul. Pat, you're about the same, right?
No, I'm a little bit earlier. But first, I want to
Ooh.
say I did jokingly take credit for Andre's video. Let's just cut that out right now. If we can remove that in post, I'd appreciate it. I started. I got the core set just around the time What Lies Ahead came out. So like a few months after the core set dropped, and I played just with my roommate for a while. Eventually, I went out to play with other people. Um, at some point, I moved away from Montreal, and when I came back is when I started getting into it a little bit more seriously, and that's when I met Andre.
Yeah, we've been friends ever since. Never been an issue.
I don't know why I laughed. Of course, I agree.
all right. So, in addition to Andre's cards, we're also going to round out the stream with the spoiler from AMS, who made it a part of the GLC. Well, I think of it as the GLC bot, but it's the Saharasa bot. And I will clearly bookmark that so that you can. We're going to go both. I'm going to try and display the puzzles, though. Unfortunately, one of them has an audio component that I haven't gotten to convert into an audio format yet. Um, but we'll go through both the puzzle and then the card itself, the puzzles and the card itself. So if you want to do those puzzles on yourself, we'll put that towards the end so that you can tap out and enjoy these really fun and challenging puzzles on your own. But I think without further ado, we should maybe talk about the first card, and I'm going to go in just set order here. I think just to make it easy for us.
Right.
So the first card was Kimberlite Field, a 4/2 agenda expansion. And then when you score this agenda, you may trash one of your res cards. If you do, trash one installed runner card with a printed res cost equal or less than the printed res cost of the corp card you trashed. And then the flavor text, Wayland synthetic diamonds cost less than naturals. So what are they really digging for here? Captain Pudma Ispister.
Yo, I asked Morgan, he wouldn't tell me. Or they wouldn't tell me, excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I no idea. I don't know whether we're gonna find out soon, but it's like the most interesting. Well, not the most interesting. I'm really on board to figure out what's
Wow.
underground.
Hey, as the representative of the narrative team, don't know how to take that.
Excuse me.
It's a really cool card. Obviously, every Wayland player, startup or standard, is going to be running more toll booths.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It's an eight cost card.
Yeah, I remember I was talking with Beeblom Ben a few days ago, and they were like, Yeah, I almost thought about running Toll Booth in Op, like, 'cause it's just a really nice, low, like relatively low influence gear check that punishes
Mhm.
people playing with endurance. And this definitely gives it a little bit of extra legs.
So we haven't seen all the Wayland cards, and like always with Op, is some interest to figure out what your, right? Like certain ice gets better if there's certain other ice that's like slightly cheaper than it. And I think if you
Mhm.
do splash an 8, then there is a 7. Like you could play Trebuchet, you still have to take the bad publicity. 6 gets a
Pharos too,
bit
yeah.
awkward. Oh yeah, you can play Pharaohs. 6 is like what? You only get Colossus, and I think that's it. So that's a bit, it gets harder. But I think like 1 or 2 ice inserted into that, like you get some nice chains. Not that you always want to be trashing your 7 costers, but hey, sometimes you can.
That's one of my favorite things about op is like it changes the way you think about deck building. I know this is a 6-month-old conversation, but like trying to think of like, oh yeah, we go from 8 to 7 to 6, and then we get to fives. Everybody's cool about fives.
Yeah, no, Op really does say in the sort of lower costs. So it's probably not worth pivoting your whole deck around this one trigger that you're going to include in your
Oh,
deck.
Hmm.
But it's definitely a
so
fun. There's some fun what ifs here.
that's the thing. It's like abstractly, if you look at this and you think like scoring a 4-2 is something you can do in Wayland consistently, which, I think some people are apprehensive about that. This is the sort of card that you're kind of on a slope of the sky is falling, and not because this is like an overtly powerful card, but I think it does challenge the way that some people deck build inherently, right? Like I think Criminal is probably hit by this the hardest by a mile, right? Like if you have a 1 of killer and you lose your killer because someone scores off Kimberlite field, like what do you do? So I think there's a lot of reasons why that's something that's going to be challenged with the set. We'll see later cards, obviously, in the stream. But to me, that's really exciting. It's just still, I think people have to be sold on the 4-2. And 4-2s used to be standard. I don't know, seamless launch or something.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think like it seems like someone at No Signal Games is trying to make people stop running one of each of their breakers zero recursion and say that's no longer going to be an option anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, you really can't do it. It's this huge liability so far of what we've seen in the set.
yeah. Like it's a great piece for an op rig shooter kind of deck, but how strong is rig shooter if you can't like blow up a boat consistently these days?
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
want to mention about the narrative and the flavor text that Ginevra's in the chat. I think it was Ginevra who came up with the title for this. It just had a kind of a placeholder name, and Ginevra came up with this based on mines in the area. Um, and then I wrote the flavor text because I saw that Kimberlite fields were for diamonds, but I'm pretty sure there's been references to Wayland just making their own diamonds at some point.
Ooh, yeah. I didn't realize they're making their own stuff. I know they were doing like HE3 mining.
Yep,
Um,
true.
But no, I don't doubt it. I think the flavor text on this thing is quite cool. I'm a big fan of the art. Like I didn't mention in the video, the art of this whole set, all the Wayland stuff is kind of slaps, and I just love the scope of this thing being kind of, absolutely bizarre once you actually see how big a human is.
Yeah, that's true. That's something that like it's hard to convey with on a card, but as people are pointing out in chat, like when you're looking at the image of extract blown up or Kimberlite field, like you see the scale of these machines and these tiny little people next to them. It's really cool and frightening in a profound way. And these are machines that are basically exist today as well. Like this isn't too far beyond our modern imagination.
This is a bit of a fun fact. It's a bit off topic, but I accidentally studied to be a mining engineer for about 2 years, and I ended up going into like gold mines and seeing a lot of this sort of equipment. And I hate mining in general, but
Hmm.
yeah, this stuff kind of strikes a nerve. It's powerful stuff.
I did not
Yep.
know that. That's an interesting thing to end up accidentally studying for a couple of years. But I guess
It's a long story.
we've all
Well,
done interesting things in our youth.
a super deep borehole is a tough thing to crawl out of. It takes a while to climb up.
Well, do we want to move on to the next card here?
Yeah, sure.
I think we have to.
All right, so this is hostile architecture. You guys you talked about this at length, Andre, and I think pretty well deservedly. This is a callback to original card, and I will at some point try and get the pulls on NRDB looking good so that I can pull up the hostile infrastructure, which this card is clearly a kind of refresher of or near print. But
Hmm.
I think this card deserves its own introduction, and I think it's got its own place. So this is 5 to res hostile architecture. It is an asset hostile subtyped. And then the first time each turn, the runner trashes any of your installed cards, including this asset, do 2 meat damage. The flavor text. Oh, and this is 4 to trash and 3 influence. And then, when implemented at this sort of scale, these practices can keep away far more than a few unwanted citizens.
What I've seen so far from comments, a lot of people are really scared of this card because it reminds them, if they've been playing for a while, as you talked about, hostile infrastructure, uh, which was a bit of a nightmare, right? Like it was a key piece into a deck that people didn't like
Yep.
playing, and it was not a deck that I think you lost to quickly. You lost to it slowly. So I think humans code intensity of pain and duration of pain differently. I think duration of pain actually is a bit more powerful. This card to me seems like, I don't know. I'm not inherently scared of it. I think it's really expensive. It's unique, and like that was the
Mhm.
thing with infrastructure. Once 3 of them are res, like welcome to Nightmare City, and you're not going to exactly get there. But I don't know. I feel like so much of this is based off of the way that I color. What's it called? Bladderwort. I'm not a big Bladderwort fan, and I feel like Bladderwort fans are also hostile architecture fans, and I wonder how they can res all this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the tricky questions you have to ask. And then I think the other thing that's sort of like I think you're hitting like a thing I always think about is like, so if I'm the runner and I take 2 meat damage, what thing is going to happen to me because of that?
Well,
And
we
I think
have it. It's like the next
Yeah,
card.
yeah, it's coming up.
But like for real, say that that card didn't exist or you weren't playing that card, and I think the next card, we'll obviously get to it, does help a lot. Like the idea with the bladder word is meant to be like anti-tempo. Like you still need to draw cards, you need to still do stuff like that. There was a large period of time when Argus security was, a competitive, reasonable identity to play as. There were a lot of Anarch decks that treated it as a pseudo blank ability. And at that point in time, I'm talking about like post Scorched Earth, but like a lot of times doing 2 me damage will hit Steelskin Scarring. It will like trash your
Mhm.
bin breakers. And there's actually board states where it's actually empowering to the runner. It's rare. It's like basically Simul Chip, half a Shaper, but then like Anarch as a whole. And that's not exactly true all the time, but I don't know. It's interesting. I think I'm not fully seeing the decks that this is going to work on yet, but I think there's definitely something there. We're going to see more pieces for sure.
I'm certainly like you could say it's a Jinteki card brought into Wayland now. I'm seeing it being brought back into Jinteki, like you talked
Yeah.
about on the video, like the Bladderwort setup with these. And I see this like setting up a blood in the water combo. Like they spend their normally like the runner runs and spends their credits on something that's your agenda scoring window. Now it's like they lose cards, that's your agenda scoring window. Just makes that a little bit easier.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
think that's
expensive.
that's the thing. Is like it's hard to imagine like it's been a long time since we had a Wayland asset deck that can support this.
Hmm.
So then you go, okay, it's hard to imagine this card suddenly bringing those decks into existence. Like this is probably still worth looking at in op, because it's the ID you look at for everything. Uh, but but then you're like, okay, well, I have to bring this into another faction now, and then you're like, okay, so now when I bring this into another faction, I both have to give up a bunch of influence because like playing one copy of
Hmm.
this and no way to tutor it seems questionable, I'll say. And then it's like, okay, well, now I also need 10 credits to make this land. Or, sorry, 5 credits to make this land. And that's not an insignificant cost by any means.
So I think this would be like a much easier sell in like the Bridgman style asset op. Is that there was an easy way to get this for pseudo op free, right? Like if there's a 6 coster that was consistently going down, and unfortunately that deck doesn't have it. Like you're not playing Sand and then extracting a Sand for this. Like that's kind of salad. But
Hmm.
I don't know. We're like one piece away from this being kind of interesting,
Yeah, I guess you
at
could
least in that
maybe,
list.
in those sorts of lists, maybe you could even turn this into a border control when you're like, oh, I've drawn the second one of these. I'll extract the resed one, grab a border control, and I can install another one out. But um,
Yeah,
Sure.
that's hard. That's hard though.
yeah. Yeah, that's like, oh, I'm making a credit and summoning a border control from my deck. It's not the
Yeah,
worst,
right.
but
So like I think startup is interesting. If you look at startup Jinteki PE, right, that deck loses Cerebral Overrider, which I think is a big enough threat. So you might not have to go. Obviously, we're seeing a lot more core damage, getting cards getting printed, but maybe that sort of chip damage, that sort of chip burst damage on top of other kill combos work. So maybe you got 6 more influence. You play hostiles and PE and call it a day. I don't know. I think you'd have to play Bladderwort and more assets.
Yeah, I think it's, to me, the meat damage is going to be most relevant either if it sets up a burst kill, which the next card
Yeah.
is going to get to, or if
Hmm.
you're trying to just kind of chip out the runner for a million points of damage. And your techie has always done that classically the best. So then it becomes a question of, can I give up my cerebral overriders to put hostile architectures in? I think.
Yeah,
So
and
I don't know.
in startup you have to, right? Like the rotation's wild. I think the start rotation on its own needs to be talked about because I think it's the most impressive thing. Not that these cards aren't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
true.
going to
That's
be
going to be
a
pretty
big
wild.
sea change.
I do want to mention. So the term hostile infrastructure, the Shinteki card, I don't know what that referred to specifically, but hostile architecture, of course, again, something that exists in our real world. It's the process of like civil engineering to keep people out or keep people from using a place in the apart from the way it was intended. Like you see, benches with armrests in the middle so that a homeless person can't sleep on it, for example. That's an example of hostile architecture. And in this art, it's like blown up to tremendous proportions, but it still has little hints of that original meaning.
It's funny because the benches in front of it, if those are benches, have those like seat dividers so you actually
Exactly.
can't lie down. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
on the
those
nose.
are 100% benches, and that's the idea.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
I love that it's like, oh yeah, I don't know exactly what the spikes coming out the side are like hostile to necessarily. Like I don't know that you're like
Oh,
trying to land a sports hopper like halfway up the building, but it
for
certainly
birds,
looks
yeah.
really
Yeah.
intimidating.
Hmm.
Yeah, this art slaps. This is really good.
Yeah, it's this set's got some really nice art direction. Let's move
Hmm.
on to the next card though, which I think helps put this in some context. This is End of the Line. This is a
Ooh.
card I've been just having a lot of fun every time someone in GLC says like, when are we going to see a new Scorched Earth? And that day has finally arrived. When are we going to see real tag punishment in startup? That day has finally arrived. So this card, End of the Line, 3 cost, Operation Black Ops. As an additional cost to play this operation, remove 1 tag. Do 4 meat damage. And then under Northern Skies, Sundog had lived all his life, and under them he would die. And it is 4 influence.
Yeah,
Yep.
Canadian representation got shut down pretty quickly in this game, and like it'll be back at some point, I reckon. But feels bad. Feels bad,
There are
man.
now two Canadians on the narrative team. It's only a matter of time before we wrestle control away from Morgan and everyone else, and just
Yeah.
every runner from now on is a Canadian.
Oh boy, I'm glad that's where we're starting. Is the Canadianness of the card.
Right. So, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's what chat was talking about. The chat knows what's up
Mhm.
here. Okay, so this is not the thing that we need to address first, but I thought Jeff, you'd appreciate this. This card cannot exist in Eternal with our what's it called? The blast 3 cards off the top of the deck, play at no cost, right?
Oh, oh, because it's
Sorry.
as an additional cost.
Yeah, you don't need to be tagged.
Oh, that's so sick. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, with accelerated diagnostics.
you like straight up cannot
Oh
unban
wow,
accelerated diagnostics from the format because it's just 12 meat damage out of nowhere. It's really funny.
that's really funny.
That's so beautiful. I'll have to do a like exhibition match of just like people setting up the most broken accelerated diagnostic combos.
Yeah, this is a good one. Regardless, let's ground this a bit. When it comes to Scorched Earth, if people don't know, that's like the original 2012 core set. It was the reason to play Wayland. It just said play only the runner's tag, do 4 meat damage, and just about every other number on this card is the same. So it's a pretty known quantity, like 3 cost, 4 influence. People
Hmm.
play it. Now the difference here, obviously, is that you generally need 2 tags. And looking at standard, if you want to have a 2 tag kill, you can play Boom. And while Boom's a trashable, it's a double. It's technically cheaper. It's 1 fewer card you need in hand, and those are actually very valuable things that if you're asking me, and I was a bit cautious about this card in my review video, is that if I want to set up a multi-turn kill, or sorry, a multi-tag kill, I'd probably play Boom over this. But if you want to play a single tag kill, that's the thing that this can do uniquely. And oh my God, Sokka spoilers the day before. He even said, he's like, it's not like we have Scorched Earth in the format. I'm like, I should make a comment here on YouTube, but
Hmm.
whoa, this thing can go just about anywhere now.
Yep. Because it's easy to land an insta tag now if the runner just steals an agenda. Uh, yeah. This is great. I love the Scorched Earth is back. I feel like removing 1 tag is probably maybe going to be enough of a downgrade from original Scorch. to keep it from being really oppressive. And
Yeah, I for sure.
I would prefer to play a end of the line deck than a boom deck because of the flexibility of only needing the one tag. It's easier. It's sometimes it's easy to land one tag.
Yeah. So obviously you need to set up a tag and then you need to set up some sort of minimal hand size. So we looked at the hostile architecture. That works. You know, they had their hand on
Mhm.
low tags. I think snare, such a prime candidate. They hit a snare late in the turn. They have two issues they have to deal with. Obviously you have public trail if they go to one den tag. And of course, all the HB stuff says core damage. And then some of the HB stuff says tag on it for some
Yeah,
reason. Like all of that stuff together is so good.
definitely a misprint. Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, we can't have every faction interacting with tags. That'd be just
Hmm.
completely nuts.
Yo, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about this. How has this been in testing? Has this been really good? Is that a faux pas to ask?
Yeah, so I unfortunately I can't really answer stuff about how it's
That
been
tracks.
testing. But it's a card I'm excited for. I can say that
Cool, cool,
much.
cool.
Like I think your question about like should you play uh booms versus end of the line is a really good one. And like I had theories in testing, but honestly it was something I would go back and forth on because it's such a like the fact that two of these beats a stone ship chart room, but a boom
Yeah.
doesn't, is like
Hmm.
pretty significant. But that card slot is also significant. So it's like this really kind of odd intangible trade off. And then there's those turns where the runner like has to interact with you and ends their turn on less than 4 cards, and suddenly this opens up a whole extra window. So
That's the other thing that's obviously like has to be addressed if you're playing startup or standard is people are playing no free lunch, like no tomorrow, right? Like the Drago decks are there, tag punishment is legitimate, and now to some extent it got stronger. We'll see the rest of the set, of course, but you also have to deal with that issue. So I don't know. I wonder how often you're just going to be find yourself in situations where these are dead in hand, or how aggressively you can construct a situation where they have to preemptively use their free lunches. It's a cold war out there of tag punishment and tags.
hey, best defense is a card, right? So
No, I'm not playing best defense. Please don't make me play best defense. I don't want to.
Yeah, why play
oh
best defense when you got Kimberlite Field and you can trash a zero cost Rashida team?
Go search for a -1, shuffle your deck. You know how the rules work.
Hmm.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm also really excited to see how this card lands in startup, I think. It's just the format has always felt a little bit flat to me, which is partly why I don't make a ton of content for it. Um, but this card I think helps Corpse have a I'm going to call it a divergent win condition. Actually use one of the two win conditions. I think with a little bit more agency. It's not like Corpse weren't getting flatline wins already, but this is like the I get to come over to you and knock the cards out of your hand rather than trying to bait you in. So
Yeah, that's huge. I've played a fair bit of startup. I've actually played some months more startup than standard, making content, stuff like that. And, you know, as a corporation, you struggle because you don't have that many win conditions. And a lot of the runners seem, you know, any extra edge you can get, let alone this is so integral to Wayland. If you've been playing for a long time, is I'm not going to have a deck with one win condition. I'm going to have a deck with two, sometimes three win conditions, and I'm going to fork you, which, you know, you take that. You like that. And this is huge for startup.
yeah, absolutely.
all right, should we go on to the final card, which I think was the card you said you were most excited about, if I'm
Mm.
Yeah,
remembering
it's weird.
correctly?
They like reprinted Scorched Earth, and there's still something I think that's more interesting, which is like I don't know, man. This last card is kind of a slapper.
All right, let's pull it up. It's Zato City Grid, upgrade region, remote server only. Each piece of ice protecting this server gains when the runner encounters this ice. Choose one subroutine on it. You may trash this ice to resolve that subroutine. Limit one region per server. Flavor text: getting in is hard. Getting out requires a death certificate, and it's 3 to trash and 4 influence. And I did not know about Zato. So if you for some reason still have not watched Andre's video, as soon as the spoiler stream ends, go over and watch it. There's a really cool educational bit about Zatos and why this card is called that, which is it was called through all of playtesting, and I never thought to ask.
Yeah, they're cool. I'm not gonna spoil it, but they're actually really fascinating.
Hmm.
This card though is very clearly fascinating, I think, as well, right? It's an effect that we've only seen one other card really do before, and that was of course Marcus Batty, which you talked about a little bit
I
in
was about
your
to say,
video.
People love ice. Ice does cool stuff. You want your ice in your deck to fire its like ridiculous subroutines that you like. That's why you put it there. Obviously, there's other reasons, but in short. And now the
mhm,
problem is you're playing Netrunner in 2022, Year of Our Lord, and so there's like endurances, boomerangs, botulists, like a lot of subroutines fire in any active game of Netrunner, which I think goes against how the game is maybe sold to you. When you see ice and think you start tenting your fingers and you're excited about a possibility of you doing bad stuff, and this lets you do it. Literally any ice in your deck, you could just whip it at your opponent and it fires. Like you can make up wild stuff and it'll just happen. Border control tribal deck, like ice walls,
mhm.
palisades, whatever you want. It ends the run. Or you can do everything as net damage, everything is ice destruction or program destruction. Excuse me, everything is hardware destruction. It's just this thing terrifies me. But then I also probably play more corp than runner, so I think overall I'm gonna win.
That's on net because you play one side more than the other. You'll come out ahead.
Yeah.
I want to quickly shout out Jamie Infinite Nutshell, the head of rules. I forget what the real title is, but they'll always just be head of rules, saying I'm about to get asked a bunch of questions. I think.
Can
Uh,
I do that right now? Because I'm gonna say one
I'm
question actually.
I'm gonna quickly say one of the things I like a lot about this card is that Malig then says this is stronger than Batty. Next message, Kisra says this is worse than Batty in my opinion. So
Mm.
some divergence of opinion. I think this card's going to be one of those ones that's tricky to evaluate. But onto your question.
Okay, okay, I'll go my rules tangent first. Okay, so I checked in, or it was checked on my behalf, that if you trash a triple advanced ice, it does not get a triple advancements, which that makes sense. Now, I
Mhm.
wasn't sure about this. If you trash an Anansi, they encounter the Nancy, but then they don't break all the subroutines. Does the Nancy do its extra 3 net damage, or is it trashed before its text resolves?
For sure
So
not.
yeah, Anansi does not work because its ability fires when the encounter ends.
And
And so it's if it had an ability that was like when you encounter this ice and then when the encounter ends kind of thing or something.
Mhm.
But no, Anansi's ability is no longer active after you throw it at someone. So the
Right.
spider, we found the one card that spider is not absolutely terrifying in combination with.
Which that's fine. Like you have faction staple Pathonimus, and that like gets you there most of the way. So is Builder Nation works? That's in chat. I don't think that should work because the card is not advanced when it's trashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes. So
From
if you have like a triple advanced Hordem, you don't get to just search your deck for any card. You just end the run or gain a credit. So
Here's a potentially relevant question from chat. Can you trash a drafter to put that drafter back into HQ?
I can't imagine why you couldn't because you finish resolving
The
the
trash.
trash, like you pay the cost, and
It's
then
not in archives though yet, is it?
no. So you may trash this ice to resolve that subroutine. Oh, that's a good one. I'm glad Jamie is in the chat and definitely not on any delay and knows this rule off the top of their head. Um,
And we expect an answer in three, two.
Yo, can you gank combo at all with this? Because I've been thinking about it and it doesn't seem so because it's also dependent on this rule. But probably not. It's in
okay,
archives. There's a checkpoint.
yeah.
Whoa,
After
so you
paying a
can.
cost. Oh yeah, because this is how ob works like at all, right? Is like you pay a
Mhm.
cost, it goes and interrupts whatever ability you're in the middle of. Um, yeah, I something I saw people being like, oh, what if I can like use the first subroutine on Inazuma, which says the runner cannot jack out for the remainder of the run, and then you set up your gank loop or something. But
Yeah.
Mm, that's fun.
Look, if they're
Uh,
gank loops, we'll find them. It's just a matter of time.
one thing I really like about this card, and I genuinely love this card. Um, since Gateway and then Midnight Sun, we've seen a lot of Null Signals Ice is like it's on res effects. It's interesting choices the corp has to make with regards to ice, rather than just I res this for value. It's just an economic game, like paying in Anansi and so on. And this card just elevates that to another level. It not only those on ice like ping gets another powerful use, but also now every ice has an inherent choice that the corp has to make. It's not just the runner making choices during the run anymore.
Well, another thing that I'm like really fascinated about this, and I think this resonates with all the cards in the set. I think this one might be the strongest version of that. Is that while it's obviously absurdly good in op because it gives you that op flexibility on anything, like literally any ice can become a Bass Chiraboga at instant speed, right? That's a good thing you can do in op as long as it's 4 cost. But like, let alone you border control to get the Zato and then they come back. The fact is, if you have to trash a card, that's not a real cost in op. Generally, that's a benefit in most board states. But there are very good reasons that you want to play this in nearly every single faction, right?
Mm.
It's like pseudo free core damage in HB for Thula. It's free tags if you want an NBM. That's probably the hardest one. Jinteki, it's just free net damage. And even outside of Wayland, like you would consider maybe playing this in a very aggressive rig shooter outfit deck to throw like a Tithonium or a Trebuchet or anything disgusting like that. It's kind of cool. It's a huge cost, but like some decks would pay $7 to sync the appropriate thing.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, one place I immediately think about is like, hey, that borehole that we're going to really struggle to protect, what if I can throw my ice at it now to make the runner have a harder time getting in there?
So my like theory crafting op list is to run 3 Jinjas and 1 Zato, and then you just Jinja the remote server, and then once they're running it and you have a border control, then you get the Zato, and then you have a Zato at like 7 ice. Good luck, everyone. Obviously dies to pinhole threading, but please don't remind me of that.
Yeah, pinhole threading is not a real card, and definitely.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, play it like the fire, guys. It'll be fine, I hope. Take more core damage, please.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. We're often calling out. Unfortunately, there are no die instantly subs in standard, which I think would be you win a curtain wall, you win the
Curtain wall,
game
flavor text,
subroutine. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Um,
just kidding.
yeah, like there's just Pathinimus that's like the closest thing to a kill you can get very easily with this, off the top of my head, right?
I think that's the worst single subroutine
Mhm.
for raw damage.
Yeah.
Like you have some weird comparable edge cases like Hydra,
Hmm.
but yeah, I think that's mostly it.
Yeah, I think what
Yeah.
was just thinking, like also the like Tithonium subroutine of like trash a resource and the runs, like a really nice one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
I like Trebuchet a lot. I think that's the boat sinker.
yeah.
You are going to have to res the Trebuchet and take a bad pub, but it sinks things. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Also, shout out to username equals pants for calling out like the fire maybe coming back in the meta, the former bad card of the week that's still bad and you shouldn't play it. For those of you who don't get that joke, that's the Slums cast, which I think we'll be having a spoiler later in the season, and I think they'll be coming on the same day as their cast, hopefully. But
What, you have other people on?
I
Oh
don't
my
just have the
god.
two of you every single night as much as I would love to.
I am
Um,
humiliated.
Yeah, someone also asked in chat, like, yeah, do you think this is worth playing ever outside of op?
For
I mean,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I think just about anything.
Yeah, there's so much cool stuff you can do.
Like how much influence is a border control? It's comparable to this.
Yeah, I think it's
I think
3. I
yeah, it's
don't
3, right?
remember exactly.
And this
Border
is
control is 3? I thought it was less.
no, it's probably 3. 3 sounds right.
I'm gonna trust you.
Yeah. So like this is comparable to making, a lot of your stuff border controls, and it has, additional value on top of that additional like it doesn't have to be in the runs. You get some good flexibility with it. But
Mhm.
no, I think you can for sure. It just matters how much people are playing anti-acid or anti-upgrade tech.
Apologies to everyone. I will fix the stream in just a second.
That's all good.
All right,
Problem
we'll
with
just
trying
vamp
to
for a
do
while.
multiple things live. Go.
So there's one more card to talk about today, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen it yet. This is actually going to be the first time I see this thing. Pat, have you seen it yet?
I know what the card does. I haven't seen it all. No. I must have seen it in its final templating, but I
Okay.
haven't. I did check in on the Montreal group. We're working on solving the puzzles together.
Yeah.
They seem to be having a great time.
Did they do
Yeah.
it?
So
I
so
think they solved it. Yeah.
I would strongly recommend for people, if a puzzle hunt is a fun thing for you, I will not blame you for turning off the stream now. As much as it pains me to see a number that does it, just see a number go down.
Mhm.
This seemed like a lot of fun, but so I definitely encourage people to give it a shot. But basically, I think 1 in every 25 of the Saharasa queries, someone would get this message, where, or they would get a message that was like, "My power is running out. Call, I need someone to help go on a quest to help me." So this was the first card in the sequence, and apologies, this is going to be a touch janky as I download and get these clues in. I should say this was made by Proserapine slash Ams, who goes by she, her, who wanted to make sure that I also shout out the play testers for this, which was, who were, excuse me, let me go and find that list before we go any further. Easy Blue, Slapdash, Ace, actually, you know what, I'll just go and pull this image in. Easy Blue, Slapdash, Ace Empress, Harmon B for doing playtesting it, and then Dictionary and Ed for providing crossword clues, and Izzy Blue for creating a stenography image. So this is going deep.
What is this? This is so cool. I was
Yeah.
busy today doing a video thing. I missed all this. This slaps.
Yeah, so let me get the thank yous in, and then I will go and get the next image in.
Okay, do you want me to read this out in the meantime?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
All right, so this is a bunch of lightning bolts and it says quest. This apparently appears randomly when you interact with the Discord bot. Thanks for accepting the call to action. To reach my power source and reset it, you need to bypass my security protocols. I have 4 security levels before I can grant you access, each of increasing complexity. You're free to attempt these levels in a group or by yourself, but progress is tied to a specific server or direct message chat, not a user. Players are free to join or leave groups at any sessions at any point. There's no time limit, so take your time. If you ever need help, try hint. Please keep all details of the quest yourself until the 9th of December 2022 so everyone can have a go. Oops. Begin by typing quest 1.
What day is it?
Yeah. I did ask specifically to get a that this was okay. So
Google.
and oh, actually, I probably should have pinged them again to let them know that we're going live. But let me go and grab the first question here. And this is the first one I think we can probably do live. I think some of the other ones are like complex enough to not be make it a little more complicated.
Don't worry, we got this, Jeff.
Or actually, no, this one's not even. This was basically just a guess of, yeah. So question 1, if you want to read that real quick, and then
Sure,
question
yeah.
2 will have some fun meat to it.
To unlock my power source, you must prove you know it, and in turn prove you understand me. Use my interface to determine its side, and while you're there, ask me to predict your future. Give your answer in the form quest 1 side fortune. Example, quest 1 runner, you will solve this riddle, answer sensitive. Insensitive. I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah,
This
so
is the
basically,
easy one?
this was the easy one. So the idea was you had to type quest and 1 to say, oh, I'm solving the first quest. And then you would type runner or corp to guess which side this was.
And you have to get the right side. Oh, of the card. We're figuring out a card. This makes sense immediately.
Yes,
Yeah, front
yes.
or back, basically.
Cool.
Yep. And so,
So what-
I think if you
what do we guess?
missed, you got like a 1 minute timeout, and then it would keep scaling up by like 1 minute for each missed guess.
Oh, is that why that was happening? Cool.
But how many sides are there? Okay, I guess we figured it. What side is it? Did we figure it out?
It's runner side.
Okay.
Runner.
So I
what was the
think the
second part of the
way,
question?
yeah, I think the way these have been given to me is that the top thing is the question, and the second part has a hint. I think the second thing is the hint that's being given to us. So
But in the
question
first
2 is
question-
you've narrowed it down, but not yet enough. You must now work out its type and faction. So give your answer in the form of quest 2 faction type. So, for example, question 2, Jinteki asset. So all we know right now is this is a runner card, and then I think this is like a word scramble. So this will have the answers to the faction that has the least standard legal IDs and least eternal legal IDs.
Which faction is both? Okay. Runner. So. Dang. It's not a mini faction. Okay, admittedly, like watching somebody online try to do a word search is not going to be good radio.
No, this is what people
Yes.
tune in for.
I'm looking. I honestly don't know where that'd be, but there's only 3 options, right?
Yeah, so this card's going to end up, and once again, spoilers, leave if you want to do this for fun. I think this puzzle's a lot of great work. The answer is this is a shaper, and it is a shaper program, which makes me think that you can find the program somewhere in this scramble, but I'm not sure exactly
What is
how.
this? Is this just like you find the word in a line? Like that's
I
just
that's
what a
my
word search is?
that's my
Or do you have to like
guess, but
trace
I
some sort
don't know if
of
there's some. I to be honest, I didn't solve it. I didn't solve this. I got the answer sent to me, and I didn't get the how do you do this. But yeah, the
It's
riddle
also
is for the
possible.
faction, and then maybe this is some cipher or something that lets you know that it's a program.
Okay.
Yeah, I suspect that the. I mean, I also didn't do this puzzle. It could also be like there are a number of real words in this puzzle. Once you've caught all of them, the remaining words spell out program or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's another way that these puzzles can work.
No way. That's hard.
Oh,
Oh,
every
okay,
card type
and
is there except for program. That's cool.
that's so cool. That's I want to
Wait,
try. I want
what?
to find one. Okay, so actually, for example, row
Yeah.
3, 4 in, you can see hardware across, right?
Mm.
Right. So that means it's bad because I would have found that and thought it'd be hardware
So
and
yeah,
changed it back to
exactly.
the
I would do
answer.
the same thing. I would just jam that in Quest 2 Shaper hardware. Boom, boom, boom. I'm so
Easy.
smart. And then it
Yeah.
would
Hmm.
say you're wrong. Um, but and then you would look and see like, oh, what is this line 5?
How are you
Uh,
finding him so quick? Oh, resources right there.
It's
Okay, yeah.
resources right there. It's like basically just two below hardware. So it's not actually. I'm not like a genius or anything.
Yeah, a few of these are mercifully left to right horizontal, thankfully.
Yeah, yeah.
So, mhm.
All right. So
But,
this
like,
one's
if
a.
if we had time, we could totally do it completely. We
Oh,
just
for
haven't.
Yeah,
sure. We could definitely do this
sure.
quickly and completely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. So question 3 is my power source has 3 stats: cost, MU, and strength. What are they? Um, and then let me go grab the hint for this one. And this one,
Oh,
I literally have no idea how you're supposed to figure this one out. Actually, I think maybe I can backwards reconstruct it, but give me
yeah,
just a
don't show the
second.
answer. I want to give us a shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I saw the Montreal group working on one of these, and one of them, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, "This is." It was very clever. I thought it was super clever of Ams. I like it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh boy, cost.
Mhm.
So 15. Sin attack. How many cards did you draw?
Oh
4.
goodness.
Stargate's 3. Botulus is 1. Unless we're talking about the cost of the thing. MU Lemuria. What? What? Huh?
Wait, so you draw cards this turn? I don't get it.
Okay, Lemuria has the word MU in it. It costs 1. You pay 1. So a lot of things point to 1. It has 1 influence. It showed up as a 1 of in the core set. So a lot of it's looking 1. But if you look at the keypad, there's numbers on those. And I reckon that is a number that you could. So the MU is a 4-digit number, obviously.
Yeah,
That's right.
clearly.
Our first 2000 MU program.
Strength is that's math. Do we solve for
Yes.
X? I guess we can solve for X. I'm okay, do you have access to wolframalpha.com? Because that's how I did university math. That still
Mhm.
exists, right?
It definitely still exists, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
The top. Okay, so mutate is top 5, or is it until you find a program? I think it's until you find. Sorry, an ice.
Yeah, I actually, and apologies to everyone on stream. Tomorrow I will have the lookup working, but it's not going to be working for us today. Let's go and look at mutate.
Mhm.
Oh
Mutate
yeah, I see what you mean. Okay.
is a 2 cost operation. It's additional cost to play this operation. Trash a res piece of ice. Reveal cards from the top of R&D until you reveal a piece of ice. Install and res that
Okay.
ice in the same position as the ice that was trash, ignoring all costs.
Uh, Something I could do, I could go into that Montreal server where they were solving this and find the hints for this appropriate stage, if you want me to read them out to you.
Oh, because you always got to ask for a hint. Hold on. Again, cut us off, Jeff, when we go too long here in the tooth. But like all we're getting from this, like if we talk about mutate, the only number on there is 2 and then influence cost, right?
Oh yes, let me go get the influence cost for that.
It's
It has
probably 3.
3. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Stargate has a bunch of numbers on it. It has 4, 2, 3, and then it's 3 influence. Those are the only numbers. The hint for the cost was the card shares. Okay, so I just spoiled myself. The costs, they all share something. Are these all 3 influence cards? No, because it can't be influence because an agenda doesn't have influence.
Let's see. We've
So,
got 15 minutes, mutate, sync attack, botulate. What do these cards have in common? Some of them are in squares, some of them are in circles. I don't know if that means something.
oh, that's a good point. And one of them is a square in a circle, and the other one's a circle in a square. It circles all the way down.
Let's see. I've got the question 3 hint for MU.
Okay,
If you want to hear it,
sure.
what kind of cipher lets you hide information in an image? We've already said it out loud this stream. Andre, think about your favorite dinosaur.
Oh, I don't even know. Pterodactyl? How's that gonna happen?
I think that's a flying lizard, not a dinosaur, though. Terrestrial.
I don't have a favorite dinosaur. What's my
All
favorite
right.
dinosaur?
Sorry. I'm giving a hint for a hint. I can just answer if you want.
Yeah, do it up.
Uh, okay. No one listen in case this is going to spoil it for you. But the kind of cipher that lets you hide information in an image is a steganography or steganograph.
Oh, because that
Okay.
word was said before. Stenography.
Hmm.
Or stegona. I don't know what that word means, so I don't know what that's. Do we have to enhance the image really hard?
I don't think we do for this image. I think there actually is an image later that like they did manipulation on.
Okay, so this is just the vanilla Lemuria code cracker.
Yeah, I believe so.
It looks like the Montreal people did it without a hint for the other two things. So pressure's on.
Okay, hold on. I think this might be cheating, but in chat,
Yeah.
Yeah,
release order.
chat
Is
has
that
figured it
it?
out.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be it, I guess.
Right?
Like yeah, I mean cuz I do know the stats. So like yes, this program does cost 4.
Hmm.
So the idea is that in each of their corresponding sets that came out, so Data Destiny, the 4th card is 15 minutes. In System Gateway, it's the 4th card or the 4th. I guess Runner happened first in System Gateway.
Yeah, so Anarch happened first and Botulus happens to be the 4th card. Mutate is the 4th card in Upstock, also known as which is part of the lunar cycle.
Hmm.
Um
I remember
hey,
when the lunar cycle was announced, they said like, and for this cycle, we're flipping the release order. Now corps come first
Yeah.
because we're on the moon. Gravity's all out of whack or something.
is
I
that
still believe
really did
corpse
they
come
really say
first.
that? That's wild.
That's
I thought
that's literally why a Jinteki card is first there.
That's super weird. Yeah, this is making me feel bad for having, or better for having a really devious only
oh,
connect wall because that's gonna happen.
Hmm.
yeah. Wow, that's
Okay.
wild. I have not seen one of these in quite a bit.
Oh,
Uh
robot? Yeah.
yeah, where are
So if
my
we do
monitors?
MU, my big thing is that Lemuria has the word MU in it.
Smart.
Should we make anything out of the word Ria?
Le Ria.
Yeah. But otherwise, it's ones all day unless we look at the keypad, and unfortunately, the image is too small for me to do that. I'm putting this in Wolfram Alpha, by the way. I'm not feeling bad that I can't do this math.
Yeah, I know like 0 is a solution. A half plus a half is equal to 4/4. Um I'm
Yeah,
trying
that
to think.
tracks. Is there alternate solutions to that, or is there only one
I feel like there
0?
should be alternate solutions,
Yeah. Don't worry,
but
Wolfram has my back.
um
Equals.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, we're doing one of those Blade Runner tests where Sanger tries to figure out if Andre and I are robots.
oh, people are calling out in chat that I'm actually a total liar and 0 is not a solution. Um because in fact, a half minus a half is not 1. A half
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Um
Okay, I got it. Wolfram Alpha says that the answer is no solutions exist.
Cool. So that either Wolfram Alpha is a liar, or this is going to be a program that does not have a strength.
I think that's correct. I believe in Wolfram Alpha. If Wolfram Alpha gets challenged at this point in my life, I'm going to lose a lot of cred. So yeah, let's say it's not a solution.
Oh,
Yeah.
apparently, this card is supposed to be Glut Cipher instead of Lemuria Codecracker, maybe?
Wait, what?
I'm not
Is
sure
Glut
about.
Cipher now?
Oh, interesting.
No, it
Uh,
can't be. I feel like Glut Cipher has to be for the next one.
yeah,
Um,
that's what the Montreal group has. They have Glutzcipher as their image here.
oh, as their MU image? Okay.
Yep.
You would
Oops.
okay? I'll describe Glut Cipher real quick for those at home.
I
So
actually
Glut
can.
Cipher.
They did
Oh,
send
you
me
can do
the
it.
image for that, so I can. It'll take me just a moment, but I have to do it in a
Okay.
roundabout way. But
So here, I got you back in the meantime. It's a
yeah.
two-cost event. It's Anarch. It's Run Sabotage. It's number 61 in the Qatar cycle. And it says make a run on archives. If successful, instead of accessing cards, force the corp to choose 5 cards from archives and add them to HQ. If able, trash them any cards from HQ at random. Ever watch a server vomit? 4 influence.
Uh, there we go. Oh man, this was. I just gonna do a very quick story time. I don't know if Solemn Storm is in the chat, um, but um, the this card is like terrible. It's so bad. But I got him to play the Rikoko Asa deck in I think it was 2019 Worlds, and he lost because his opponent played a Glut Cipher and knocked the combo pieces out of his hand.
Funny.
Yeah, this card's it's good fun. It sometimes doesn't do anything. Sometimes it loses you the game, but every once in a while it doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. Giving the corp recursion is almost always bad, except in the rare cases where it doesn't.
They
Um,
should remake Fisk so that he just gives recursion to the corp.
Draw a card from archives.
Yeah.
So we're meant to get MU from this?
yeah, and I'm like, oh, it must be the cost, right? Like, that's where my brain stops thinking about this card.
Yeah. It says 5 on it as 4 influence. It's card 61, which means it would be the first card from the third pack of Qatar cycle. So I'm gonna go
Oh,
for 1.
apparently we need to do image processing on this card.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna do. Yeah, you have to use imaging software. Does someone want to tell me what got? I think I saw Infinite Nutshell talking about uh some stuff with this one. And I don't remember.
But the
Yeah,
idea is that you could do image processing to the original card, or is this like an altered version of the
I
card?
think this is an
this is an
altered
altered
version
version.
of this card.
Oh,
Yeah,
so if I
Uh,
jam.
that's why the hint is what kind of cipher lets you hide information in image. Steganography.
Oh, cool, cool, cool.
oh,
Okay, so
so
I can't.
so yeah, they hid some information in the
Okay.
In
in
the
this
image itself.
image, but
I
So
or
would
my
be
possibly
surprised
even
if
just in the metadata for the image.
my guess would be you crank the levels real high, and then
Hmm.
at some point, like you see something.
There are
Yeah.
probably a lot of like free steganography resources online, and the people like watching those like wondering why are we getting so many uploads of this PNG of a Netrunner card all of a sudden.
All right.
Yeah.
This one is
Cool.
apparently devilishly hard.
Yep.
Um, so this one is you must give your answer in the. You're on the final stretch. Now you must determine my power source's name and text as well as its special access code. Give your answer in the form of quest 4, code, name, and text.
It's an only connect wall?
Yeah.
Oh, this is cool. Okay.
All right. Impress us.
So
I'm walking away. I'm not gonna try this. I honestly I
so
think this one is so hard it would be unfair for us to solve it in front of the audience.
Yeah, maybe
No,
we'll
Andre,
just
you can go
we
ahead.
can talk about this for a bit, and then we will
Mhm.
just show the card, which may give you the solution, but it's probably worth still doing this as a fun exercise anyway.
okay,
For sure.
hold on. There's no way we're
Okay.
not doing this. Okay, so the connections. We have Gordian, that's probably Blade. Then Knife is probably Blade, and then Saw is probably Blade. Is there another Blade in there?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, that works. So that could be one connection if it's all Blade connections. Uh, hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, sorry. That's the one I got. I'll chime in if I get other ones.
We're gonna take a 15-minute break while Andre does this only connect. Jeff and I will talk about movies we've seen recently.
So apparently, this audio file that you get, you actually have to open in an audio editor maybe to get the files.
Oh, I've
Um,
seen those where you see it in like the sound wave or the
yeah,
whatever it's
yeah.
called,
The
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 graph.
the image that I get, the preview image is actually hold on. Let me see if I can open this up in Google Drive.
Hmm.
Oh no,
Looking at the
actually, it's
cryptic,
actually just a wave file with
hmm,
it looks like Morse code as its title.
very cool.
Let me see if I can grab a screenshot of that real quick, just so people can
I,
see
I've,
what it looks
yeah,
like.
I've never loved cryptic crosswords. Like they have their own language that you have to learn before you
Yeah.
do the crossword. But one of these, like, refers to I think long defunct Quebec City hockey team. I'm just trying to figure out who is their top corrupt propagandist.
All right,
That
so
was a
yeah,
joke
just
for the
for people that
Quebec
want to
City
see what this
resident in
looks
the
like when I
audience.
open it, this is the way the Google Drive thing is this wave file with a
Mm.
Morse code name. So, oh, apparently this is
It,
slightly outdated versions of the crosswords. Like everything is just a little bit out of date.
oh,
Uh, but um, but yeah, it plays sound. I don't want to try and play sound on a brand new setup. Apologies to everyone. I'm just a little bit. Actually, well, you know what? What's life if you don't live a little?
you only live once.
What the heck is Waker?
I believe it's a sect of Quakers.
I hope the sound. Okay, yeah, the sound's definitely coming through.
Huh. Head, hole, 9 Inch Nails.
Pat, I think the sound's going on in the background. We can't hear it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. It
I'm
is.
assuming
Yes.
only Jeff can
So
hear
I
whatever
think we're
the sound.
talking over it. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
yeah,
so
yeah.
sorry.
Hold on. Maybe I can actually.
Okay,
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just don't want to interrupt it for the stream.
I'm so sorry. I shouldn't talk.
Oh, it's all good.
Oh, that's really good. Steampunk, steam cleaner, steam boiler.
Mm.
I associate valve with steam, like a steam valve.
Okay,
Well,
hold on. I
okay.
don't know how long it goes on. Oh wow, it goes on for like it's over a minute. I'm gonna pause it here, so it's not just I'm asking my two co-hosts to sit here and not listen to anything while I go and
We
do
heard some
stuff.
beeps.
Okay, I
Yeah,
maybe got
I
the
only heard a
beeps in
few
at
beeps.
the end.
Jamie said they can hear it.
Yeah, I saw it going out to the stream. I just don't have my
Okay,
my.
that's funny.
Yeah, it was a mad dash to get everything working. So
Mhm.
apparently it was just getting the best bit. I'll believe it. I'll listen to it later, Ed, and verify because I suspect
Mhm.
I'm getting rused a little bit. Um, but let's. So once again, shout out to AMS for putting this together.
This is cool.
Please go through this is super cool. Go through this again. There's a lot of I think the UK had like a dedicated puzzle channel that they just went deep on this one for and
Mhm.
solved it themselves. So um, oops, and let me go and get the actual card. Um, without accidentally revealing cards that I'm not supposed to yet.
That's what people are tuning in for to see
I
you mess up
know
that.
So
everyone would be super excited about that.
I've been
say
trying to
that
keep my mouth shut about things that are coming up.
say that like you solved all of these. You're a very clever person, and then you message the bot with the final answer. After quest 4, it would just send you an image of the card.
I believe so.
Cool.
Oh, okay. It just showed up. I meant to have it stream in, but we're just gonna resize it and do it live. Because I forgot how things worked. All right, let's get this going. This is K2CP Turbine. This has got to be one of like the only runner cards we've seen so far this season. I think.
I
Have you
think
seen
so.
any
Yeah.
others?
Yeah, well, that and Orca, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Orca. Okay. So this is a 4 to install 1MU program, no subtypes. Each installed non-AI icebreaker gets +2 strength. Every rig needs a power source. How about one with blades moving at Mach 2? And this is 4 influence.
Whoa. So
Yeah.
non-utility programs are generally underplayed, but usually really cool. And I think
Mhm.
this is really cool. Art's great.
Yeah, the art is really fun. Ginevra pointed out earlier that like a lot of the Wayland stuff has these nice deep pinks in the background. Here's another one with like a great use of pink on blue. Yeah, this is lovely. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I this is I think the art has definitely like I feel like it's even evolved a little bit since Midnight Sun in just how dynamic and colorful it
Yeah.
really is.
Hmm.
So who wants to play this, right? Like I think the first thing I see this is the fixed strength breakers that Anarchs have, right? So
Yeah.
you still have Mimic, you
Buzzsaw,
have
Cleaver, yeah.
obviously Buzzsaw and Cleaver. And specifically those are like really well played in startup where I don't know, four influence is a lot. If you can't tutor this in Anarch, it's gonna be a bit ugly, but that's huge. It's also
Yeah.
really cool that it gives breakers strength as opposed to lowering strength of ice, which is usually more often what we see. I guess not so much in Shaper, but that's like more often what you would see with those sort of breakers. So this
Yep,
means it's like not feeding into chisel and all that other stuff, but
true.
still giving you that breaker strength. That's cool.
I also see this working with stealth rigs, uh, probably giving them just a little bit of extra strength, so you're not spending stealth credits to get up there.
Yeah,
That
that's
that
true.
could be a
That's
big part
cool.
of it. Hmm.
And that AI clause is probably everyone's pretty happy about that.
Crucial. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that one.
I'll be that I can't really talk about a lot of playtesting. That text came on surprisingly late, and I'm very glad that we had a couple of playtesters go like we had a couple of playtesters join late in the cycle and just go, why has no one done this? Did it, and we went, oh
Mhm.
yep, never mind. It really needs this clause.
There's
100%.
so much of that like support from Shaper that's like boost strength and all that sort of stuff that also has like non-AI on it, like Dinosaurus and
Dinosaurus, of course, I'll play that.
Jacoby, all that good stuff. This is
Yeah.
also, yeah, this is not unique, right? So you would strap down three of these in one Amaku and you'd be good to go. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's probably pretty good.
Yeah,
As far as a replacement for Rozeki, like because like in startup, this is coming in, Rozeki's going out. This is going to save shapers who are not running boat for some reason a lot of money.
I also want to quickly shout out. Someone was like, Mach 2 seems pretty fast for some blades. This is apparently based on the speed of nuclear reactor turbine blades.
Hmm.
So real world, we got propellers that move at Mach 2.
It is very satisfying to see how many real world ideas we can put into this game and make them feel science fictional because they still seem so beyond our imagination today, like these giant trucks and this turbine moving at
What's a
Mach
I
2.
Mach is sound?
Yeah, speed of
it's
sound.
speed of sound. It's like
So
600
this is
miles an
twice
hour or
that.
something, I think.
Yeah.
So this thing could literally sneak up on you before you hear it.
Yes.
If you're standing in the way of one of its blades, then yes.
That's nutty fast. That's cool.
K2CP. I can't remember the exact names, but this card is named for I think members of the development and design team.
Yeah.
So those are some initials. If Anzuke or Morgan's in the chat, they could fill us in, but I think it's quite early for them right now. But yeah, that's the idea. This is some people's names, kind of a shout out to, or the same way like the LLDS Memory Diamond kind of thing also did that. Like, oh, here are two of the designers of the game. We'll put them initials in a technical seeming card.
Yeah.
This is neat.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I see people in chat talking about the con fix breakers and then going, but why does con only have 12 influence? Um,
So you can only put three K2 CP turbines in.
yeah. And then I see
Yeah,
Plunderbird talking about
Chameleon,
like,
right?
Oh,
yeah,
Chameleon's fun, yeah.
Chameleon and the Anarch Fixed Strength just seem like really
Mm.
nice cards. Um, yeah, I think this card's got some real potential to it. Obviously, it's a little bit. It's not clear to me this fits in existing runners because this is such a big rig card and we're not seeing like big rig a ton at the moment. But this
Mhm.
is definitely a payoff for those sort of big rig decks, or like it could be a future key engine piece for those big rig decks.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm,
that's something I've loved about Midnight Sun and the cards we've seen in Parhelion so far. Like that kind of new archetypes can emerge, or archetypes that haven't been around for a little while. I think this will make big rigs viable enough. Maybe if certain cards leave the meta. um, yeah, I'm excited for it. I think this is super cool.
I think it's like it can be really quick to build a really bad deck, but I don't know the name of that Archimedes card offhand, the new one that lets you rip 10
Spark of
coster.
inspiration.
Yeah, right? But like that card kind of incentivizes you to play heavier. programs,
sure.
and I don't know, maybe this is a bad hit on it, and it's still okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I definitely remember thinking like, well, if I spark of inspiration and hit a Rozeki, it's probably okay, all things
Yeah,
considered.
that's honestly fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I would pay 3 for an instant Rozeki, sure.
Yeah, but I think this is not a bad hit. And then if you're like, yeah, if my programs are like a couple of big boys and like one turbine,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll probably get enough reasonable hits. But I don't know,
I
something to think
think
about.
one of the things I'd be most excited from Parhelion is just getting more unique connections for the coffee shop. That's my wish list. So come
Yeah,
at
we'll
me,
have to
please.
we'll have to see. I think we're getting some runner cards tomorrow, and then I think I
Ooh,
have some the day after that. So we'll have to keep an eye out for unique connections and see if we can finally make polys happen.
yeah, coffee tribal. It's still out there somewhere. We'll find it.
Yeah. I want more CD cards. What are we doing with the CD cards? I'm trying to put those on every card, but people keep shutting me down. This feels like a CD turbine.
For real though, untyped programs are incredibly rare. I don't know if I can name another one.
Uh, I was thinking of, oh
Collective
man,
Conscience is probably the best I
Collective
got.
Conscience. I was thinking like, what's that? Analog Dreamers or something from
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds
the
good.
Dance Cycle.
Probably Stargate. Stargate
Misdirection,
is.
probably.
Stargate must be.
Stargate. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. There's a couple like no, Conduit's virus, Inversificator. Yeah, no, that's a different one.
That's a breaker, yeah.
I'm thinking of the one that makes you draw cards off the top of R&D, but those probably are.
Oh yeah, equivocation.
Yeah, that's the one.
Hmm.
That's cool though.
Okay, yeah. So
I really like
tomorrow
that
is
how.
Code Tomorrow with Anarch. Okay, cool. And then Icebreakers with me on Friday. Oh, good, on
Oh
Friday.
man,
I don't need to make my video
Anarch cards,
immediately
so
after
good.
this.
Have
I'll,
you made a video yet?
I no. So that's going to be, well, I'm working from home tomorrow, so I might be able to sneak that in. I was actually
Hmm.
I thought it was tomorrow. So if Jamie hadn't said something, I probably would have recorded and then auto scheduled it, and people would have gotten the spoilers a day sooner.
Oh no.
But I think there'd be nothing else on Friday, so people would still be grumpy. So I think it's probably better all around this way. So
Are you in an awkward spot with the data loss thing, or are you okay?
no, I have like honestly, I don't think I actually lost anything of value.
Cool.
Hopefully.
That's good to hear.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, I think we've been going for a good bit. It's probably time for us to go and eat dinner. Thank you both so much for coming on. Um,
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
of
me.
course.
Always a pleasure. This has been. I'm a big fan of the Daily Cast. I'm always, saying nonsense in your chat pretty consistently. This is great. Keep this up. Excited for it.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm super happy you invited me on. And I would just want to tell everyone that I can't wait for everyone else to experience Parhelion because I've been sitting on these cards for so long. Uh, I'm just happy to hear people talk about them.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these in the wild. So, yeah, thanks once again to both of you. Thanks once again to AMS. If you haven't checked out their quest thing, you can go and do that on any server where you can find Saharsa. You can start a DM and give your own shot at solving these puzzles. It's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And also check out the Metropol Grid's great video on all of the Wayland spoilers from earlier. And with that, I will say good night. So have a good night, everyone.
Good night,
Bye,
y'all.
everybody.